There is a country where democracy was born, where philosophy shaped Western thought, where marble temples stand after 2,500 years, and where the Mediterranean sun illuminates the landscapes that inspired myths still told today. This is Greece, a nation of 10 million people scattered across a mainland and over 200 inhabited islands, where ancient ruins appear around every corner, and where the past is not distant history, but living presence shaping daily life. The civilization that flourished here created literature, art, mathematics, and political systems that influenced the modern world. With the Parthenon, the Olympic Games, and Socratic dialogue being Greek contributions to human achievement. Subscribe to and discover Greece, where ancient stones tell eternal stories. Athens, the cradle of civilization. The capital contains 3.8 million people living beneath the Acropolis. The rocky hill topped by the Parthenon Temple, built in the 5th century BCE when Athens was the most powerful city-state in the Greek world. The Parthenon was constructed under Pericles as a temple to Athena, with the structure demonstrating architectural perfection that has inspired builders for millennia. The ancient agora was the marketplace and political center where Socrates taught and where democracy developed, allowing citizens to vote on laws. The National Archaeological Museum contains treasures, including the Mask of Agamemnon, bronze statues recovered from shipwrecks, and pottery documenting daily life. The city is chaotic with a traffic congestion and graffiti visible alongside the monuments, creating contrast between glorious past and difficult present. Santorini, the volcanic paradise. The island in the Cyclades is what remains of a volcanic caldera created when the volcano exploded around 1600 BCE in an eruption so massive it may have destroyed the Minoan civilization on Crete and inspired Atlantis legends. The cliffs rise 300 meters from the sea with whitewashed buildings and blue-domed churches cascading down, creating postcard views that define Greek island aesthetics. The villages of Oia and Fira cling to the caldera rim with hotels and restaurants, catering to tourists seeking sunset views. The volcanic beaches have black, red, and white sand created by different lava types. The wine is distinctive with vines growing in basket shapes to protect from wind. The island is crowded during summer with cruise ships disgorging thousands daily, creating congestion. Mykonos, the party island. The island in the Cyclades contains 10,000 permanent residents. Though the population swells to over 100,000 during summer, when tourists arrive seeking beaches, nightlife, and cosmopolitan atmosphere. The main town contains white cubic houses with colorful doors creating maze-like streets, where windmills line the ridge, being the island's iconic landmark. The beaches range from family-friendly to party beaches, where clubs operate from afternoon until dawn with DJs and dancing. The island is expensive, with premium prices reflecting the exclusive reputation. Little Venice is the waterfront neighborhood where houses are built at the water's edge, with waves crashing beneath balconies. The island represents Greek tourism at its most developed, being glamorous and beautiful, though sometimes feeling more international resort than authentically Greek island. Crete, the island of myths. The largest Greek island contains 640,000 residents spread across a mountainous island stretching 260 kilometers, with the Samaria Gorge being Europe's longest gorge, cutting 16 kilometers through mountains. The Minoan civilization flourished here from 2700 to 1450 BCE, building palace complexes at Knossos, demonstrating sophisticated Bronze Age culture with indoor plumbing and colorful frescoes. The Palace of Knossos was excavated beginning in 1900 by Arthur Evans, whose controversial reconstructions in concrete created a fantasy Minoan palace that scholars debate. The island contains beautiful beaches, mountain villages, and the Lassithi Plateau, where windmills once numbered in the thousands. The island was the site of fierce resistance during World War II when German paratroopers invaded and Cretans fought back, creating partisan movements. Delphi, the center of the world. The archaeological site on the slopes of Mount Parnassus was ancient Greece's most important oracle, where the Pythia priestess delivered prophecies that kings consulted before making major decisions. The sanctuary was dedicated to Apollo, with the Temple of Apollo being the main structure where the oracle sat on a tripod above a chasm, supposedly emitting prophetic vapors. The site contains the ancient theater seating 5,000 spectators, where competitions occurred during the Pythian Games, held every 4 years, and the stadium higher on the mountain, where athletic competitions took place. The Tholos of Delphi is a circular building with Doric columns whose purpose remains mysterious. The site is UNESCO listed with the museum containing treasures, including the charioteer of Delphi bronze statue, demonstrating classical Greek sculptural achievement. Meteora, the monasteries in the sky. The rock formations in central Greece rise up to 600 meters, with monasteries built on the summits beginning in the 14th century, when monks sought isolation by constructing religious communities accessible only by rope ladders and baskets. 6 monasteries remain active from the 24 that once existed, now accessible by stairs carved into the rock. The Great Meteoron is the largest monastery containing frescoes, religious artifacts, and a museum documenting monastic life, with the Catholicon, or main church, dating to the 14th century. The landscape is dramatic, with stone pillars creating scenery that appears designed rather than naturally formed, with erosion of a river delta creating the distinctive shapes. The site is UNESCO listed with recognition for the monasteries and the natural landscape, creating one of Greece's most unique destinations. Rhodes, the island of the sun god. The island in the Dodecanese contains approximately 125,000 residents living where the Colossus of Rhodes once stood. Being one of the 7 wonders before collapsing in an earthquake in 226 BCE. The medieval Old Town is surrounded by 4-kilometer walls built by the Knights of St. John in the 14th century, creating the largest inhabited medieval town in Europe that is UNESCO listed. The Palace of the Grand Master was the Knights' headquarters, damaged in 1856 and reconstructed by Italians in the 1930s. All of the island contains ancient cities including Lindos, where the Acropolis sits on a cliff with the temple to Athena commanding dramatic views. The island was occupied by Italians from 1912 to 1943, who left Art Deco buildings creating architectural heritage from the occupation period. Corfu, the Emerald Island. The island in the Ionian Sea contains 100,000 residents living on the greenest Greek island, where cypress trees and olive groves create landscapes distinct from the arid Cyclades. The Old Town is UNESCO listed with Venetian architecture, reflecting 4 centuries when the Republic of Venice controlled Corfu, being the only part of Greece that never fell to Ottomans. The Liston is an arcaded street modeled on Paris's Rue de Rivoli, with cafes where locals practice the volta or evening promenade. The Achilleon Palace was built for Empress Elizabeth of Austria in 1890, with neoclassical architecture and gardens containing statues celebrating Achilles. The island was occupied by British from 1815 to 1864, who introduced cricket, which is still played in Corfu, being the only place in Greece where the sport has a following. Olympia, birthplace of the Games. The archaeological site in the Peloponnese was the sanctuary of Zeus and the location where the ancient Olympic Games were held every 4 years, from 776 BCE to 393 CE, when Roman Emperor Theodosius abolished them. The site contains the Temple of Zeus, which housed the statue of Zeus created by Phidias, being one of the 7 wonders before being destroyed. The ancient stadium where foot races occurred has been excavated with the starting line still visible. The site museum contains sculptures from the Temple of Zeus, depicting the chariot race between Pelops and Oenomaus, and the battle between Lapiths and Centaurs. The modern Olympic flame is lit at Olympia before each Olympic Games using a parabolic mirror to focus sunlight, connecting contemporary athletics to ancient Greek traditions in ceremonies broadcast globally. Thessaloniki, the co-capital. The city in northern Greece contains 1 million residents, making it Greece's second largest city. With history spanning over 2,000 years from its founding by Macedonian King Cassander in 315 BCE. The city contains Byzantine monuments, including the Rotunda, built by Roman Emperor Galerius as a mausoleum, before being converted to a church and later to a mosque. The White Tower is the city's landmark, being part of 15th century Ottoman fortifications and now containing a museum. The city was predominantly Jewish before World War II, with the Sephardic community numbering 50,000, before the Nazis deported them to Auschwitz, where most perished. The city is more relaxed than Athens, with waterfront promenades, cafes, and cultural venues, creating a cosmopolitan atmosphere, while being less touristed than the capital or the islands. Nafplio, the first capital. The coastal town in the Peloponnese was modern Greece's first capital from 1829 to 1834, containing 35,000 residents living beneath Palamidi Fortress. The fortress sits on a hill requiring climbing 999 steps to reach the summit, where Venetian fortifications built in the early 18th century command views across the Argolic Gulf. The old town contains Venetian architecture with narrow streets, neoclassical mansions, and the Borzi Fortress sitting on an island in the harbor, being the town's iconic landmark. The town was occupied by Venetians, Ottomans, and briefly by Egyptians, before becoming capital of independent Greece. The town is considered Greece's most beautiful, with the combination of coastal setting, historical architecture, and proximity to ancient sites including Mycenae and Epidaurus, making it popular for weekend trips from Athens. Epidaurus, the ancient theater. The archaeological site in the Peloponnese contains the ancient theater built in the 4th century BCE. Being considered the most perfectly preserved ancient theater, with acoustics so precise that a coin dropped in the center can be heard from the top row. The theater seats 14,000 spectators, with the semicircular arrangement and limestone seats creating natural amplification, allowing performances without electronic enhancement. The site was a sanctuary dedicated to Asclepius, the god of healing, with patients traveling here seeking cures through rituals and sleeping where healing dreams supposedly occurred. The site museum contains inscriptions documenting treatments and cures. The theater hosts performances of ancient Greek drama during summer months, with productions of Sophocles, Euripides, and Aristophanes being staged where they were originally performed, creating connections between ancient and contemporary theater. Mycenae, the Golden City, the Bronze Age citadel in the Peloponnese, was the center of Mycenaean civilization from 1600 to 1100 BCE. Being the legendary home of King Agamemnon, who led Greek forces to Troy according to Homer's Iliad. The site contains the Lion Gate entrance, with limestone lions being Europe's oldest monumental sculpture, welcoming visitors through walls built from stones so massive that later Greeks believed giants must have constructed them. The treasury of Atreus is a beehive tomb constructed from precisely fitted stones, creating a dome without mortar that has survived over 3,000 years. The site was excavated by Heinrich Schliemann in the 1870s, who uncovered gold masks, weapons, and jewelry. The Mask of Agamemnon is displayed in Athens' National Archaeological Museum, being the most famous artifact, though dating shows it predates the legendary king. Zakynthos, the flower of the East. The island in the Ionian Sea contains 40,000 residents living on an island famous for Navaggio Beach, where a shipwreck sits on white sand beneath the limestone cliffs, creating Greece's most photographed beach, accessible only by boat. The island's main town was rebuilt after the 1953 earthquake destroyed most buildings, with reconstruction following the original street plan. The island is a nesting site for loggerhead sea turtles that come ashore at night to lay eggs on beaches protected as part of the National Marine Park of Zakynthos. The blue caves on the island's northern coast contain natural arches and caves, where the water reflects sunlight, creating intense blue colors. The island represents Greek natural beauty, attracting mass tourism that creates economic benefits while threatening the environment. The crowds at Navaggio Beach can number in the thousands daily during summer. Hydra, the car-free island. The island in the Saronic Gulf near Athens has prohibited motor vehicles since the 1950s, with transportation being by donkey, water taxi, or on foot through narrow stone streets climbing from the harbor. The island contains 2,000 permanent residents living in an island that became wealthy during the 18th century through maritime trade, with ship owners building the stone mansions that line the harbor. The island was important during the Greek War of Independence when Hydra's fleet fought Ottoman forces. The island attracted artists and writers in the 1960s, including Leonard Cohen, who bought a house and lived here while writing. The island is popular for day trips from Athens, with boats arriving from Piraeus in 90 minutes. The car-free policy maintains character that most Greek islands lost to development, though the restriction creates challenges for residents. Monemvasia, the Gibraltar of Greece. The fortress town on a rock connected to the mainland by a narrow causeway contains medieval buildings within walls that have protected the settlement since Byzantine times. The rock rises 100 meters from the sea, with the lower town containing Byzantine and Venetian architecture, including churches, houses, and a main street where restaurants and hotels now occupy restored buildings. The upper town, reached by a path winding up the cliff, contains ruins of a Byzantine fortress and the Church of Hagia. Sophia, perched on the summit with views across the sea. The town was occupied by Byzantines, Venetians, and Ottomans, with each leaving architectural traces. The town is car-free, with vehicles being prohibited beyond the entrance gate, maintaining a medieval atmosphere where stone streets create settings that feel suspended in time. Mount Olympus, home of the gods. The mountain range in northern Greece contains Greece's highest peak, Mykonos, at 2,918 meters, being the legendary home of the 12 Olympian gods according to Greek mythology. The mountain is a national park protecting diverse ecosystems, ranging from Mediterranean vegetation to alpine zones where snow remains year-round. The mountain can be climbed in 2 days by fit hikers using refuges for overnight stays, with the standard route not requiring technical climbing, though the final stretch involves scrambling. The mountain was first climbed in 1913 by Swiss climbers who found no evidence of divine inhabitants. The slopes contain over 1,700 plant species, with many being endemic. The mountain represents how Greek mythology connects to specific landscapes, with the god's mountain home being a real place that visitors can climb. Pelion, the Centaur's mountain. The peninsula in central Greece contains 24 mountain villages built on forested slopes descending to the Aegean Sea. With traditional architecture using slate roofs and stone walls creating settlements integrated into the landscape. While the villages were home to centaurs according to mythology, with Chiron, the wise centaur, supposedly teaching heroes including Achilles and Jason. The peninsula contains beaches on both the eastern Aegean coast and the western Pagasetic Gulf, creating a destination offering mountain hiking and seaside swimming. The Pelion Railway was built in 1895, connecting Volos to mountain villages using a narrow gauge track winding through forests. Those sections were destroyed by floods. The villages maintain traditional character with cobblestone paths, stone fountains, and plane trees shading central squares. The peninsula represents inland Greece, often overlooked by tourists heading to islands. Corinth Canal, the maritime shortcut. The canal cuts through the Isthmus of Corinth, connecting the Gulf of Corinth to the Saronic Gulf. It being 6 kilometers long and 21 meters wide, with vertical sides rising over 50 meters. The canal was completed in 1893 after centuries of proposals, including plans by Roman Emperor Nero, who began digging in 67 CE using Jewish prisoners before abandoning the project. The canal allows ships to avoid the 200 nautical mile journey around the Peloponnese, though the narrow width limits use to small vessels. The canal is crossed by bridges, including the submersible bridge at the eastern end that lowers beneath the water to allow ships to pass. The canal represents human determination to alter geography for economic benefit. Though modern shipping has reduced the canal's commercial importance while maintaining its status as a tourist attraction. Greece has 10 million people living in a country where ancient ruins are part of the daily landscape, where economic struggles coexist with cultural richness, and where the Mediterranean lifestyle emphasizes food, family, and enjoying life despite hardships. The economic crisis beginning in 2010 created unemployment and emigration, though the culture survived with Greeks maintaining traditions and identity. The tourism industry brings millions annually seeking islands, ruins, and sunshine, creating revenues while creating pressures on infrastructure. The country's contribution to Western civilization through democracy, philosophy, and art means that visiting Greece is encountering the roots of European culture and seeing where ideas that shape the modern world originated. Subscribe for more journeys through lands where history shapes the present. and where ancient stones tell stories that remain relevant today.